Peter Obi may be the last chance for Southeast at presidency for some decades if they miss it now. I'm sure if they miss it now, this is a conditional statement that is being made here. All right, that Peter Obi may be the last chance. Unfortunately, Soludo and his people are thinking that Peter Obi is not the qualified person. They are the qualified. So by 2031, when they would have finished their 8 years in office, they can go as he can go as the Nigerian president from the Igbo extraction. So that shows that what Soludo is doing is just out of jealousy and envy. All right. So, but somebody is writing here that Peter Obi may be the last chance for Southeast at presidency for some decades if we miss it now. And so it means that all hands will be on deck to support Peter Obi. Right now, let's see what this writer has to say more about this. This piece has no aim of hurting. This piece has no aim of hurting anyone's ethnic sensibility, but to bear my mind and draw attention to a very likely political doom that will befall politicians of the Southeastern extraction as regards their opportunity to preside at the presidency of Nigeria, should they fail to seize the rare opportunity that Obi'S presidential candidacy presents to them in the oncoming 2023 presidential election. We know that. All right. In the current political scheme of things in Nigeria, ahead of the 2023 presidential election, discerning minds from Southeast are asking, where is Rochas Okorocha? What has become of Ogbonaya Ono? Is Kenton Namani still nationally relevant in politics? Where is Chris Ngige? Is Dave Umahi duly rewarded by APC? As Ike Ekweremadu languish in jail in faraway UK? Aren't his properties being seized in Nigeria by the government? Didn't he boast that he will be on ground to tell Igbos to vote for Atiku? Where is Anyim Pius Anyim since after the PDP primaries? What of Andy Oba? Is Obi'S or Carlos still among Nigeria's power brokers? What of Jim Wobodo, Chimaroke Nnamani, Achike Odenwa, Sam Egu? This list goes on. They are or were the political first 11 of Southeastern extraction. How the mighties have fallen. Who played them? How and why? Is it right to say that some of them were used and dumped and relegated to the political peripheries by those who found them useful as stepping stone to power and afterwards a threat to be kept at bay? You see? So weren't some of them blackmailed and harassed with EFCC and the courts for the numerous skeletons they have in their political cupboards? In the Southeastern League of Politicians, there are politicians who currently play in the second division. Their future political prospect depends on their wise political decision in the 2023 election. Amongst them are His Excellency Emeka Ihedioha, Osita Chidoka, Obiora Okonkwo, His Excellency Ifeanyi Ogwanye, Senator Enyinaya Abaribe, His Excellency Chukwuma Soludo, Senator Victor Ume, Professor Kingsley Mogalu, Dr. Obi'S, Senator Uche Ekunife Etar. All right. As providence and hard work would have it, the presidential candidate of the Labour Party and two-term governor of Anambra State, His Excellency Peter Obi, is the primus inter pares in the line-up of politicians above. It is pertinent to note that Peter Obi did not earn current political pedigree as a result of his wealth or his status as a former governor, or even by his being a former member of the People Democratic Party. After all, Jim Wobodo was a former governor. So was Achike Odenwa, all right? Chinwoke Mbadinuju, Chris Ngige, Rochas Okorocha, Obi'S Okalo, Chimaroke Nnamani, Sullivan Chime, Martin Elechi, Ikedi Ohakim, Willie Obiano, and even Andy Oba, which beg the question, are these former governors of Southeastern extraction still part of power brokers at the center? With their combined political force, they could not even exert influence on the people of Southeast. Hence, even them observe the sit at home on Mondays in Southeast. Peter Obi earned his political pedigree in Nigeria based on his proven integrity and unsoiled public records. To grasp the idea better, try to imagine any of the politicians mentioned above as the flag bearer of the Labour Party for the 2023 election and ask yourself if they would have survived the corruption probe, media scrutiny, intellectual assessment, and ethnic profiling that Peter Obi has been subjected to. Much still, if they would have gained the trust of the North, much as Peter Obi seemed to be gaining towards far ahead of the election. Peter Obi left PDP and went into a relatively obscured political party, and yet in a matter of few months, he turned the Labour Party into the fastest growing political party in Nigeria, while simultaneously leading the biggest political movement in Africa, the Obedient movement, all right? He has consistently been on the lead ahead of other major presidential candidates in all the pre-election polls conducted by different bodies. That he has achieved without financial war chest, that is anything near those other presidential candidates. Again, I ask, why didn't any of the aforementioned Southeastern politicians enter other smaller political parties and replicate the Peter Obi's effect there? The answer is they are not Peter Obi. There is only one Peter Obi, and he is a rare breed of politician. Prior to the presidential primaries by PDP and APC, there was such noise for Igbo presidency. All right? Puerile and hypocritical arguments were advanced by some of the aforementioned Southeastern politicians, but only the gullible believed them. Time has unmasked their real motives. It has always been about their political interests and not about the Igbos or Southeast. The presidential candidate of Labour Party and Harvard alumnus Peter Obi has shouted to the rooftops that he needs no sympathy vote from anyone on the grounds of his ethnicity or religion. He is running to be the president of Nigeria for all Nigerians and considers himself much qualified than all who are in the race. Hence, he urged Nigerians to assess all the presidential candidates and choose for whom they are convinced is most competent and trustworthy. What a daring statement. Yes, from Peter Obi. Those whose intentions for Igbo presidency were never pure, having crashed out of the race, have revealed themselves for who they truly are, selfish and anti-Igbo and Southeast, for their open opposition to Peter Obi's presidency. Since they so much advocated for presidency to be zoned to the Southeast, now that a presidential candidate from the Southeast is leading in the polls, why aren't they throwing their weight behind him? No, they won't, because their real intention was to ride to power on ethnic sentiment. So if it won't be them, then let it not be anyone else, not even Peter Obi. Yes, I make bold to assert that in the current political configuration in Nigeria, it will take only Peter Obi to open the way for Southeast to the presidency. No insult meant, but none, or maybe I am yet to see any living Southeast politician with the capacity, untainted public record, and national appeal to play the role of a pathfinder for the region to the presidency. Those who attempted Rochas Omahi Ital, we have seen how they crashed out even before the real game started. There is so much mistrust of the Southeasterners in Nigeria as a result of the Civil War, and that is rather unfortunate given that they have given a lot to Nigeria. But this piece is not for ethnic sentiment, which explains why I choose to stick to the use of designation Southeast and Southeasterners, rather than Igbos, keeping in mind that there are Igbos in South-South and North-Central. Peter Obi is riding to power on the shoulders of the Nigerian masses, particularly the youths, as against those who wish to be carried to power on the shoulders of their political godfathers and career politicians. Hence, should Obi win, he would be better disposed to work for all Nigerians than for power brokers, and that would give cause for Nigerians to say post 2027 that Southeast gave the country the best leadership she has had in recent decades. All right, thus making it easier for Nigerians from other regions to allay their fears and misgivings against Southeasterners and express confidence in giving other politicians from Southeast extraction further chances at the presidency sometime again in the future. All right, they don't trust the Igbo, or Igbo will avenge the Civil War narratives will be put to rest by Obi's unifying achievement as president. That would be the most concrete way of uniting the country than the usual unifiers rhetorics at campaign ground based on antecedent. Peter Obi would be committed to working for Nigerians. What Nigerians want is good governance, and on that is what he has promised them. Needless to say that he has a name and reputation to protect, as he did while he was a governor. Perhaps another interesting prospect of Obidati presidency would be the natural extinction of the old brigade politicians, as Peter Obi has promised that his government will be about the youths. In my view, should he win, he will ensure that he groom younger politicians who share in the ideals of true democracy, competency, and integrity to get into political offices and replace the gerontocrats, lest he finishes his tenure and Nigeria returns to the old order. May I exhort politicians of Southeastern extraction to toe the path of right reason, common good, and patriotism, and desist from the unwarranted opposition to Peter Obi's presidency. May they be guided by the Igbo adage that says, Egbo dike na ogulo, urue na ogwezi, achoba dike. You see, those who conspire to kill the warrior in internal fight shall be without a warrior on the day they will face their enemies from without. That is it. That is what they're saying. All right. So when you kill your warrior in the house during the internal war in the house, when he gets to the time to fight outside, you will start looking for warriors. That is it. Wow. So this is a very good write-up justifying the need for the Igbos to support Peter Obi this time around, as that will be the pedestal on which we can secure Igbo presidency in the future. There are a lot of comments here, but I'll just take one of them. A brilliant write-up in defense and promotion of Peter Obi. Everything said is true. The Southeast has nobody in the current list of personalities to match Peter Obi. The only drawback is that Peter Obi left it a bit late, all right, to build bridges across the Niger. So to the west and north. Should he lose in 2023 and Atiku wins, he might have another chance in 8 years' time, but it might be bye-bye for him if Asiwaju wins, in which case he might have to wait for 16 years. You see? All right, well detailed. Obi is the answer. To vote right is to vote for Peter Obi, a Labour Party, and that is true. All right, putting an only egg in a broken basket is dangerous. The G5 will consider their future in their decision making. They will not make the mistake of supporting an orphan from a motherless baby's party. Can you imagine? So what is it trying to say? What is it trying to say? So the thing here is that Peter Obi and the Labour Party is the only way the Igbos can ride on to get to presidency. Unfortunately, the likes of Soludo is saying that Peter Obi is not fit for presidency, thinking that by the time he finishes his 8 years by 2031, he will be the person to go as Igbo president. That is a statement of envy, full of envy and jealousy. right, not supporting Peter Obi at this time. And even Abga in Anambra does not have a very strong presidential candidate. All right, it's as good as Abga not having a presidential candidate at this time. So now Peter Obi is the best person that should go for that presidency from the Eastern extraction. That is the truth. Because who else? No other person has the quality that Peter Obi has. Where is Richard Okorocha, like the writer is asking? Where are all the first level Igbo politicians that have been governors and senators several times? Where are they? They are all in the cooler because they know that they cannot make the wave that Peter Obi is making. And they are also not coming out publicly to support Peter Obi. Hence this write-up to call them out that this is the time to support Peter Obi so that you can lay the foundation for the rest of Nigeria to trust that Igbos can at least lead this country. All right? But now they are docile, supporting PDP or APC because of their stomach infrastructure. It's quite unfortunate. This is what we have, and this write-up is very, very explicit, well explained, well crafted, and fits the time now for Peter Obi to become the president of Nigeria. Thank you for listening, and let's have your comment below.